The moment Rush walked back onto a stage with Anika Nilles behind the drums, the internet exploded. Some fans called it the perfect comeback. Others said nobody should ever replace Neil Peart. And honestly, that's exactly why this story became one of the most emotional debates in rock music right now. Because this wasn't just about finding a drummer. This was about stepping into the shoes of a legend many fans believed could never be replaced. When Rush announced their 50-something tour, people expected names like Mike Portnoy or other famous progressive drummers. Instead, Rush shocked everybody by choosing Anika Nilles, a German drummer known for insane precision, creative grooves, and viral YouTube performances. Even longtime fans who had never heard of her suddenly started searching her name overnight. And here's what made it even more surprising. According to Geddy Lee, Anika wasn't even a lifelong Rush superfan growing up. To some fans, that was refreshing. They believed Rush wanted someone who could bring new energy instead of copying Neil Peart note for note. But to other fans, it immediately became controversial. Because for hardcore Rush listeners, Neil wasn't just the drummer. He was Rush. And the pressure on Anika became enormous before she even played a single official tour show. What many casual fans don't realize is that Anika Nilles didn't just appear out of nowhere. For years, drummers online had been calling her one of the most creative modern players in the world. Her YouTube performances gained millions of views because of her unusual timing, smooth technique, and ability to make complicated rhythms feel effortless. Even legendary musicians started paying attention. Anika built a reputation for mixing technical precision with real musical feel, something Rush has always valued. Neil Peart himself wasn't only respected because he played fast. Fans loved him because every drum part felt intelligent, emotional, and carefully crafted. That's one reason many musicians believe Rush saw something deeper in Anika than just talent. But here's where the fan division really started. Some Rush fans wanted the band to choose a drummer who sounded exactly like Neil. Someone who would recreate every fill, every cymbal hit, and every classic live moment perfectly. But others argued that Rush has never been a band about copying the past. They believed choosing Anika showed courage instead of nostalgia, and then social media made the debate even louder. The second clips of rehearsals and interviews started spreading online. Comments became completely split. One side called Anika the future of Rush. The other side claimed nobody outside of Neil Peart should ever sit behind that drum kit. What made the conversation even more intense was the fact that Anika Nilles plays very differently from Neil Peart. And Rush fans noticed it immediately. Neil was known for power, complexity, and almost machine-like precision during live performances. His drumming felt massive. Every fill sounded calculated, dramatic, and larger than life. Anika, on the other hand, brings a more modern style. Her playing has deeper groove influences, softer dynamics at times, and a smoother flow that many younger drummers connect with instantly. For some fans, that difference is exactly why Rush made the right decision. Instead of hiring someone to imitate Neil Peart, Rush may have wanted a musician who could honor the music while still sounding human and original. Geddy Lee reportedly admired Anika's creativity and personality behind the kit, not just her technical ability. And honestly, that approach fits Rush's history. This is a band that spent decades evolving instead of repeating themselves. But not everybody sees it that way. A lot of longtime fans feel emotional about Rush continuing after Neil Peart's passing in 2020. To them, Rush without Neil feels incomplete, no matter how talented the replacement is. Some even believe the band should have retired permanently out of respect for his legacy. And that emotional connection is something Anika can't control, no matter how incredible her drumming is. Then came the rehearsal footage and early live clips, and suddenly the debate became even bigger. Some fans were shocked by how naturally Anika fit into the band's chemistry. She wasn't trying to act like Neil Peart. She wasn't overplaying. Instead, she focused on capturing the energy and emotion of the songs while still adding her own personality. And for many musicians watching online, that was actually the smartest possible approach, because copying Neil perfectly would almost be impossible. Neil Peart's style was built over decades. His drum arrangements were so detailed that many drummers still struggle to play them accurately today. Even famous professionals have admitted Rush songs are among the hardest rock songs ever written. So instead of becoming a tribute act, Rush seemed to choose evolution over imitation. Still, criticism kept coming. Some fans pointed at certain fills, transitions, or tempo choices and said the music no longer felt like classic Rush. Others defended Anika immediately, arguing that fans were unfairly comparing every second of her performance to one of the greatest drummers in history. And honestly, that's the impossible situation she walked into. Most drummers only have to impress audiences. Anika had to survive comparison to a legend whose influence shaped progressive rock for over 40 years. But here's something many people outside the Rush fanbase don't fully understand. This wasn't just a musical decision, it was an emotional one. For Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, moving forward without Neil Peart was never going to be easy. The three members of Rush spent decades together building one of the most respected catalogs in rock history. They weren't just bandmates, they were family. That's why some fans were surprised the band chose someone younger and outside the traditional Rush circle. But in a strange way, that may have been exactly the point. Anika brought fresh energy into a situation filled with emotion and pressure. Her style doesn't feel trapped in the past, and that may help Rush avoid becoming only a nostalgia act. Instead of trying to recreate 1981 forever, they appear to be showing fans that the music can still evolve. And that idea has divided the fan base more than anything else. Older fans who grew up watching Neil Peart live sometimes want the exact sound and feeling they remember from classic tours. Meanwhile, younger listeners and musicians often appreciate seeing Rush take a risk instead of playing it safe. The result? Every performance becomes a conversation online. Every drum fill gets analyzed. Every interview becomes headline material. And somehow, Anika Nilles has become one of the most talked about drummers in modern rock because of it. What's really interesting is that many professional drummers have actually defended Rush's decision publicly. A lot of musicians understand something casual listeners sometimes miss. Technical skill alone was never enough for this role. Rush needed someone who could handle impossible songs under massive pressure while also bringing the right attitude and chemistry into the band. And by most reports, Anika delivered exactly that. People close to the tour have praised her work ethic, preparation, and ability to stay calm despite non-stop criticism online. That matters more than fans realize. Because walking into a legendary band after the loss of an icon can easily destroy a musician mentally if they're not prepared for the pressure. But Anika didn't run from it. Instead, she acknowledged the responsibility openly. In interviews and appearances, she has shown deep respect for Neil Peart's legacy without pretending she can replace him completely. And honestly, that balance may be one reason Geddy and Alex trusted her in the first place. Still, the internet remains divided. Some comments call her the perfect modern choice for Rush. Others insist the band should have ended permanently after Neil's passing. And the truth is, neither side is likely changing their opinion anytime soon. Because this debate is no longer just about drumming anymore. It's about what Rush is supposed to mean in a post-Neil Peart world. At the end of the day, this entire situation proves just how important Rush still is to rock music. Very few bands could create this level of emotion decades into their career. And very few drummers would willingly step into a position this difficult, knowing millions of fans would compare every note they play to Neil Peart. But Anika Nilles accepted that challenge anyway. Whether fans love the decision or hate it, one thing is undeniable. She brought people back into conversations about Rush again. Younger audiences are discovering the band for the first time. Older fans are revisiting the music, and drummers everywhere are debating what the future of legendary bands should look like after losing an iconic member. And maybe that's the bigger story here. Rush was never a band built on standing still. Their entire career was about evolution, experimentation, and taking risks even when fans didn't fully understand the direction at first. So in many ways, choosing Anika may actually be the most Rush decision possible. Still, for many fans, Neil Peart's shadow will always remain over this band. And honestly, that's completely understandable. But perhaps the real question isn't whether Anika Nilles can replace Neil Peart. Maybe the real question is this: can Rush move forward while honoring the past at the same time? That debate is exactly why fans remain divided and why the entire rock world is still watching.